Hey friends, there is a lot of things holding people back from starting up their business or making it kind of to the next level in their business. And I think there's a lot of myths that are going around in the handyman business that I wanted to address today. So today I wanted to address the top 5 handyman business myths that I believe that are holding you back. And if you can conquer these myths and really understand that life can be different than what these myths say, you can really have a whole different business than you think you can. Myth number 1 is a myth that I hear all the time, and it's really that people won't pay me what I need to make in order to make a living. People won't pay me what I'm worth. I hear this all the time, and that's probably the number 1 biggest issue that people struggle with in the handyman business is pricing. We've made a lot of content that revolve around pricing, and it's actually very simple to come up with what you need to charge to make per hour. Now, the other thing is getting people to pay you what you need to make per hour to actually make a living after you've done that equation. And I think that there's this myth and this thought that people just won't pay you what you need to make as a handyman because they kind of see the handyman as kind of this lesser thing and, you know, chucking a truck, thing like that. That's really what the handyman journey is all about, is changing the name of the handyman industry into something more professional, you know, more profound, something that, you know, demands respect within the profession. So I think the biggest thing that you can do to get people that will charge or will pay what you need to make per hour is really through marketing and branding. And it's really presenting yourself in a different light than what most people used to see handyman as. So a handyman, you got to look at what a handyman used to be, and that's really just someone that has tools, has the capability, shows up and does the work. So they're not necessarily dressed the nicest, they're not driving the most nicest truck, they may not have decals on their truck, they may not have business cards or brochures or flyers or anything like that. So you got to look at what 98% of the population is doing and do the exact opposite. So if that's the persona that people have of the handyman, you need to change that. So here at the Handyman Journey, we are all about helping people understand what professionalism looks like, what integrity looks like, and how to offer that to your client. Because if you offer that to your clients are going to understand that your price is a reflection of, you know, basically the professionalism that you bring. So you need to think about how you're presenting yourself to your client. Are you presenting yourself professionally, or are you presenting yourself as just someone who has some tools and shows up just to get money? At the end of the day, you know, we always recommend a nice truck, a nice decaled truck, nice uniforms with a logo on it. Do your hair nice. I see a lot of, and I made this mistake for many, many years. I just simply didn't do my hair, and I look like a slob at the end of the day. So maybe you need to hear this. If you're not doing your hair, you might be looking like a slob, and I bet you can bring a lot more professionalism to the table just by putting some gel in your hair and slicking it back. So I would encourage you to look at kind of how you're presenting yourself to your client and ask yourself, is how I'm presenting myself to the client, is the type of work that I'm doing to the client, is the warranty that I'm offering to the client, is it worth what I'm charging per hour? Because that's really the issue. It's not that clients don't want to pay for what you need to charge, it's that they don't see the value in you. And there's a lot of clients out there, there's different types of clients. Some clients will never see that value, and that's perfectly fine. Those clients, you know, they need to not be your clients. Those clients will find the handyman that they're looking for in more of a chuck in a truck kind of guy. The type of clientele that you're looking for is someone who expects professionalism and respects that and values it. So you need to pinpoint those, you need to find that, and your branding needs to be strong enough in your area so that people realize that you are the top-notch handyman in your area. And if you're not providing that value, of course, no one's going to want to pay you for that. So you really need to look introspectively and ask yourself, are you presenting the value that you're actually charging for? That's really what it comes down to. The second myth is huge, and it's really that marketing platforms are a ripoff. You hear this all the time that, you know, Home Advisors, Angie's List, Yelp, they're all ripoffs, right? Now, some of them may have done some unethical things in the past, but at the end of the day, you got to look at what their business model is. Their business model is to take money from handyman and contractors who pay them to basically put their name on their server and give that for free to homeowners and clients, and that's how they make their money. So basically they do marketing to get clients to come to their website, and they charge handyman and contractors and plumbers and electricians and whatever to be on that website to connect the clients with the contractors or handyman. That's how they make their money. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that could go wrong within the integrity of that organization to make it unethical. But by and large, labeling all of these marketing platforms as a ripoff is really more of a victim mentality and really blaming someone else for maybe something that might be your issue. So at the end of the day, I think it comes down to putting your money in the right place. We've made quite a few videos on figuring out what marketing platform is the best in your area to invest money in. For me personally, what I did is I went to Google and I typed in handyman near me. And your first non-paid, non-sponsored thing that comes up, it'll say the top 10 handyman in Citrus Heights. And that will either take you to a Yelp website, it'll take you to HomeAdvisor, it'll take you to Angelus, it'll take you to Nextdoor. And that really tells you which advertising platform is spending the most money for those clients in your area. So that's what I did when I first started up, and I found out that Yelp was the one that was spending the most for the most advertising dollars to get clients in my area. So I decided to start investing in Yelp. And I've spent $300 on Yelp for almost my whole career here. I mean, there's times when I've shut it off and times when I've started it. Right now, to this day, we're still paying $300 on Yelp, and it's bringing in quite a bit of clientele, and that's great. But one of the best marketing platforms that you can invest in is Google. Google advertising, Google Ads is great, and LSA is fantastic, but they do have a threshold. You have to spend a certain amount of money to get into there. You could spend less money, but to make it valuable, to make it where they're actually reaching people, you have to spend, I think it's at least $600. But by and large, when you're talking about marketing, I would recommend you talk to my good friend Jason Call over at handymanmarketingpros.com. He's the expert in marketing. But by and large, I think that's a myth. Don't get caught in that victim mentality and thinking that every single marketing platform is a ripoff, because at the end of the day, they're not. They're just like us. They're all humans. They probably have made some bad decisions in the past, but that does not mean that their platform is necessarily a ripoff. You guys are handy, and I know that. But the hardest part about this business is actually the business side of business. That is why I have created a coaching program that is exactly for that specific reason. The Handyman Academy is our premier coaching program that will help you learn everything that you need from startup all the way to creating systems and processes so that you can hire employees so the business can essentially run without you. The Handyman Academy now has open registration, and I would absolutely love to talk with you about how I can help you with your handyman business. Go ahead and set up a free consultation call with me at handymanjourney.com/coaching. All right, let's get back to today's video. The third handyman business myth that I want to address is that all clients are looking to get something for nothing. And by and large, we're all humans, right? We all want a deal. We all want, a better slice of the pie, as you might put it. Whenever we're going to buy a car, we always ask them, what else could you do? Can you do anything better on this? So we're kind of all wired to get the best deal we possibly can. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're all cheapskates, but at the end of the day, that's kind of how we're all geared. So understanding that, we can't really credit everyone as just wanting something for nothing. Everyone's kind of the same. Everyone wants to get a deal. And really, at the end of the day, it's all about targeting the correct clients and the correct clients for your price range and for your professionalism and what type of value you are bringing. At the end of the day, if you are targeting low-end clients and you're charging $200 an hour, yeah, you're never going to get any work, or you're going to get people that are always trying to lowball you. You're going to get people that are always kicking your tires and wasting your time because you're targeting the wrong type of people. So you need to think about, okay, who are the people that can afford the services that I offer? And who are the people that will respect the services that I bring, the professionalism that I bring, the integrity that I bring? Maybe it's already a client that you have, right? I can think of, 4 or 5 clients right now that are just our ideal client. And you need to sit back, and when you have those clients, you need to think to yourself, it's like, where does that person hang out? Where does that person go to breakfast? Where does that person spend their afternoons? Right? Do they have a country club? Like, where do they spend their time? And that is where you need to be marketing. That is where you need to be advertising. That's where you need to be involved in the community. You don't necessarily need to be involved in the community in the place where your non-ideal clients are. You need to be involved where your ideal clients are. So really, I think it comes down to asking yourself who your ideal clients are and how you can target them better, because those people, they may still want a little bit of a deal, but they're not going to be lowballing you as much as those other guys were. And at the end of the day, if you price yourself appropriately and you offer the services at a good rate and good professionalism, people are going to respect that, and people are going to honor your value, and they're going to basically respect the work that you do because you respect them. So by and large, if you're not going around, you're not ripping people off, and you find the right ideal clients, they're going to understand that you're charging appropriately for the services that you're doing. You may be $50 an hour more expensive than another guy, but they want to work with you because of you. And at the end of the day, that's the type of person that you want to go for. So really with that, it comes down to perceived value. And how can you make your perceived value greater? How can you make your perceived value even greater than what your actual hourly rate is? You need to underpromise and overdeliver. So if you're charging this and people are expecting this type of service, you need to come in with this type of service. You need to blow their socks off every single time. And by doing that over and over and over again, they're going to tell their friends who are most likely in their same sphere of influence and they have the same kind of values and respect as them, and you're going to gain more of those clientele. The fourth handyman business myth that I want to address really revolves around hiring employees and growing a handyman business. I would say probably 10 years ago, hiring employees for a handyman business was almost unheard of. The handyman business was really just a one-man show, chuck in a truck type thing. And over the last 7, 8 years, we've really transformed the industry, and we've seen it grow to a big place where now hiring a handyman employee is something that a lot of people are thinking about. But the main myth that I think people get stuck in and it holds them back is that I can't possibly find good, skilled work to help me out in my business. And if I do, that good, skilled person is just going to go off and start their own business anyway, so they're not going to want to work for me. I think this is a huge myth, and again, I think it comes back to the victim mentality when you're stuck in this place where you're just blaming all your other circumstances rather than looking inside yourself to see what can change in you to basically infect your reality and change the way that things are going. So I think at the end of the day, it's very possible to hire employees, and I'll tell you why. Because every business that exists today that has employees has hired employees that do the very work that the owner did when they first started up this business. So if you look at plumbing contractors, right? Plumbing contractors, there's a huge one in this area that they hire hundreds of plumbers to do their work on a daily basis. Now, why don't those plumbers start up their own businesses? Maybe they just don't want the stress of owning a business. Maybe they don't know how to run a business. Maybe they're just content with going to work, 9 to 5, getting a steady paycheck, getting a 401k, getting medical insurance, and going home and spending time with their family, and that's perfectly fine. That's how the majority of the world works. The majority of the world is actually employees, not business owners. So if you think of it in that perspective, that every business that exists today that has employees has hired employees and continues to hire employees that do the very nature of work that they could do on their own by starting up that very same business. They either don't have the resources, they don't have the know-how, or they just don't plain want to do it because they don't want that stress, they don't want that overhead to do it. So at the end of the day, there's plenty of people out there that you can hire for your handyman business and would be delighted to work for you in your handyman business. If you create a great business that has great benefits and great pay, there's no reason why someone will not want to come work for you. Now, of course, on the other end, that big plumbing company that I talked about, I'm sure that there's been probably dozens of plumbing businesses that have come out of that business. Employees that used to work for that business that have gone off and started their own plumbing business. Not saying it never happens. People will leave and people will start up their own business, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I bless that if my employees want to leave and start up on their own thing. But if they don't, we're more than happy to have them along our team, and we're going to treat them well, and we are going to give them a great career. That's really what it's all about, is giving someone a great career that they can be proud of, and good benefits, stability, and happiness at the end of the day. The fifth handyman business myth, and I think this is possibly the biggest myth out there, is that I can't do this. I mean, there's so many people that are stuck in this thought of, I cannot possibly do this. Simply, they think, I don't know enough, or I don't have enough resources, or I don't have enough tools, or I don't have enough know-how. This is all myth, man. If you can get inside of yourself and really understand that whatever you want to do, whatever God has put on your mind to do, you have the information to do it. And if you don't, you may not know all the specialty lingo and maybe how to do everything, but That's why God made YouTube. God made Google just for that specific reason. You can YouTube almost anything and figure it out. There are courses, there are classrooms, there are schools that you can get involved in to learn whatever you don't know how to do. We are living in an amazing day and age where information is really at our fingertips. So if you don't know how to do something, I would encourage you again to look inside of yourself, ask yourself what needs to change in yourself to figure this out or learn or grow or make it to the next level. So at the end of the day, there's no excuse, right? You can do this. You are qualified to do this. If you don't know every single thing, that's perfectly okay. You can figure out what resources you need to go to figure out the correct answer. I love the saying that my metal shop teacher said in high school is that wisdom isn't having all the answers. Wisdom is knowing who to ask to find the right answers. And that's really the most important thing, is knowing who to ask, who to call when you get in that bind, and who to go to when you're having trouble or you have a question. At the end of the day, that really dictates whether you're going to be successful or not. Friends, this has been day 93 of my 100-day video challenge. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been fantastic. We are nearing the end of the 100-day video challenge. Absolutely amazed by that. We started this thing back September 1st of 2023, and it has really been a roller coaster. We've talked about a whole lot of great stuff. Everything from pricing to sales to marketing to finances. We've covered a lot of great details. So if you are brand new to this 100-day video challenge, I would encourage you to jump back to day 1 of this challenge. We've talked about a lot of stuff, like I said before. But I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys gained some knowledge. And I hope you guys go out and make a difference in your community. We'll catch you guys all tomorrow, right back here for day 94.